Should we get started?
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today. I have the GVP of sales here today, Justin Jones, and looks like you have a special guest with you as well.
I do have a special guest. Yeah, no, I have Kobe here. Kobe is our office manager, and he was talking to me a little bit about what we're going to chat about today. I was getting Kobe's opinion on why clients are choosing PAAS, and he had some insight. So he's a little rambunctious today, but he wanted to say hello. I figured it was a great chance to introduce him to everybody. Say hi, Kobe.
Hi, little one.
Thank you, Mandy. I'm going to let Kobe go out and play here with his friends.
Well, he has a lot of important work to do, so I don't want to keep him any longer.
He definitely does.
So I'd like to say thank you for joining us today. Give a proper introduction to Justin Jones, who is our Global Vice President of Sales. And we've also got Dave Krieger, who is our Chief Procurement Officer today. I'm Mandy Stoffel. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at PAAS. And our idea for this conversation today is just to invite you to just a behind-the-scenes conversation between our team members who are on the front lines helping our clients achieve savings every day. And just to kind of let you in on what we're finding out, which is that clients are coming to us from Gartner. And we'd like to give you a little bit of an overview about what we do and why we think that's happening. So Justin, do you want to give us a high-level look at, what do we do on a daily basis at PAAS? What are we doing for our clients?
Yeah, no, we create outcomes, Mandy. I think PAAS, we're a spend analytics firm, and we have a SaaS-based platform. But our goal is to drive hard dollar savings on indirect technology spend for our clients. And not just the pricing aspect, pricing is important, but it's really achieving the most optimal contracts that are available so that they can achieve their business needs in a way that's efficient for them, but knowing that they've got the best deals from their technology suppliers that they could possibly get.
Justin, I'm just going to get right to it, the subject of our conversation today. So what are clients who come to PAAS from Gartner saying? What are they telling us?
It's interesting, Mandy. I think the number one thing that I hear from clients as to why they're choosing PAAS over Gartner or even exploring this as a possibility is just time to outcome. There's an urgency level that we work with here at PAAS. We understand that the folks in procurement, they need answers and they don't need them in 30 days. I've had clients that said, hey, look, I reached out, I sent an email. I didn't know who I was supposed to talk to. I got an email back. I had one client that told me they got an email back that, hey, yes, we have an agreement with your company, but the license isn't under your name. It's under somebody else's name. And that person was out on maternity leave. And so they got it rectified, but it was a couple of days before they were even able to get back in contact with the right person, exchange information. And, we know just from living the experiences that our clients don't have that time to waste. They need answers right away, which is really center point to differentiator for us is we turn our data around. When we get a request, first and foremost, you have a customer success director that's responsible for you and they're plugged in. And once you provide us information, we're turning around our analysis and giving you the feedback within 48 hours. That to me and to our clients is a game changer. They find it hard to believe, quite honestly, that we can do it. But because we have, and I think it's another differentiator, such a quality bank of relevant data points, it allows Dave and team to really provide those types of feedbacks. And by the way, do it with one of our other differentiators, which is a guarantee. There's nobody in the market, Gartner included, but nobody in the market that guarantees hard dollar savings other than PAAS. It's black and white. For every dollar our clients spend with us at PAAS, we guarantee them $5 back in hard dollar savings. And we don't look at savings as cost avoidance. We look at it as an actual impact, the net effective discount to achieve you better pricing and optimal terms in your agreement.
We all think data is important, right? But what is it about our data that makes us different from Gartner?
Yeah, no, the devil's in the details. And I'd argue, and Dave, maybe you can give some insight to this, but all data is not the same. And our data is relevant data. And that's a huge differentiator for us. Dave, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I in a previous role, I was a client of Gartner. And so they had a good platform, a lot of good information, but it was survey data.
Dave, how many data points do we have now? I know it's been growing tremendously as we've been onboarding more and more clients.
Yeah, it's going like crazy. We have over 400 million and growing, and we have north of 7,500 suppliers in the system. So we're just growing like crazy.
And so the data is superior, but then you can argue, okay, you've got data, which is great. We all agree it's important. We've got the right data, superior data, which is actual relevant data points. And then what is different about us that allows you to do something with that data? I mean, you can have a truckload of data, back it up and dump it out, but if you don't know what to do with it, then it doesn't make any difference for your contracts, right? So what sets us apart from Gartner in terms of what we do with that data?
Yeah, I think if you go to our website and just look at the people who work at PAAS, the experience, right? I think you nailed it, Mandy. Data is important. Relevant data is extremely important, and it's being able to interpret that data though and understand what it means, understand the processes that the suppliers go through in order to improve the numbers, right? So if we have data that shows there's a variance in pricing and terms and conditions, that's great. But we have to understand how a supplier then goes through their approval processes, which we understand. If you look at the folks on this team, I had an interesting client that reached out to me and said, hey, I spent some time on the website and you guys have a very impressive roster of individuals. And I'm so happy that we have the ability to lean into folks who have worked at the suppliers like Oracle and Microsoft and Salesforce and Dell. Everybody on this team in some way, shape, or form has worked in the supplier world, or like Dave or Russ, sat in executive level spots from a technology or procurement standpoint. So it's having the relevant data points that we have, that's not survey data, but matching it with experienced people who understand this space to a point that they can make very impactful outcomes with that data.
If you call up Gartner and say, I have a renewal coming up, what do you think happens? Do you talk to somebody that day?
No, I mean, based on my,
us?
based on the conversations that I'm having, it's not the case. And they're not typically speaking with a subject matter expert, somebody who's actually lived those experiences. And I think that's centerfold to the success that we're having. It's why we guarantee our savings. It's why clients are making that switch, because outcomes drive behavior, right? I mean, outcomes drive decision-making, and we're creating those outcomes for our clients.
Right. And what would you say, what's the typical amount of savings? Where do we go? Someone comes to us, they've got a contract. They said, the supplier said, this is best and final. We hear that all the time, right? And I think that we've all found out that that's really where the conversation starts for PAAS. So what's the typical amount of savings that we're achieving for them above what they've saved using Gartner?
Yeah, Dave, I know, has a story he can share, but I mean, typically we're seeing anywhere from 15 to 30% in hard dollar savings right off. And that's from best and final in most cases. But I think also we're reducing the time to procure by up to 80% because we know the answers to the test and we understand the processes. So we're able to accelerate that. And that's a win for everybody. It's a win for the supplier. It's a win for our client. It's a win for PAAS. Dave, I know there's a client that you've worked with, a large grocer that had a significant win, and it really started with this whole process.
Yeah, they came to us with the best and final offer regarding an ERP system. So there were two parts of this deal. There was the ERP software as well as an implementation services partner. And so we were able to dig into the details of the software and get a really tight contract, improve the price. But the very interesting part is with the implementation services partner is that they just gave really a bulk price. And what we asked them to do is come back with the details. We got into the weeds on this. We wanted to know the types of people that were going to be working on it. Are they onshore, offshore? What level of skill they have? And when we got this type of data, we were able to drill down and really improve the offer. And over the whole process with the software and implementation, we saved them $1.2 million. So that's what it takes. We get into the details, whereas our competition will just give you a ballpark. Yeah, you can save maybe 10%. We tell you exactly what you can save.
Yeah,
and a month to give you that answer too, right?
Yeah.
And Mandy, I'll take it a level further. I think this highlights another aspect, because we don't just give the data back and give some coaching. We lean in as much as possible. We work as an extension of their team. And so Dave and his team, they're building out a very comprehensive counteroffer that is based on all of that detail. So we look at all the factors, we understand every component at play, again, understanding the supplier process, and we deliver them a very, very clear-cut counteroffer, which indicates how a deal can be accomplished, how a deal can get done. And those efforts, quite honestly, it's another area that Gartner is unwilling to lean in and assist on. And it's interesting, right? I'm making assumptions, but I think we're all intelligent enough, right? So imagine you're a client and you're paying Gartner to provide you with assistance on negotiating a contract with X, Y, or Z supplier. But then also understand that that same supplier is also paying Gartner considerable, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to be included in the Magic Quadrants. I don't know. I mean, I see a conflict there. And I think it goes directly to why we're able to make impacts above and beyond what Gartner clients have been able to do, because we are agnostic. We don't take back end dollars. We work solely for our clients. And that conflict of interest, to me, it prohibits Gartner from having the client's best interest at hand. I've talked to clients who are not even allowed to inform the supplier that Gartner is providing them assistance in the negotiation. We're willing to provide a letter and give it to our clients to give to the supplier to enable PAAS to lead the negotiations. So we're willing to roll our sleeves up and get dirty. We're not afraid to turn we're not afraid of that. But that to me is a big difference, and one that is bringing us a lot of clientele.
Yeah, I would put it right up there with the guarantee. I mean, you could invest $250,000 in Gartner services, and there's no guarantee you'll get any savings as a result of that, right? Mm-hmm. It's no risk working with PAAS. So, who wouldn't take that opportunity when there's no risk? So I think it's pretty obvious if people are listening right now, they see the massive impact this can make on your bottom line. But I think that maybe it helps to explain how we do this. When we get contracts from our clients and we have the pricing and the terms and conditions, I think, Justin, it would help to explain what do we do with the data at that point.
Yeah, no, it really starts with a benchmark, and that goes over to Dave's team. And Dave, you can give some color on this, but I think at a high level, it's important to know we have 3 different types of benchmark as well. So, we have a very simple, quick benchmarking process where it's specific around pricing. So just looking to see how your pricing compares in the market, it's a pricing benchmark. We also have a comprehensive benchmark, which is deeper than that. So we look at the pricing, but we also look at all of the unique terms and conditions. We look at, the additional strategy around the supplier and provide that as context as well. And then we have a third benchmark, which is a competitive benchmark. And it is really taking the first 2 and providing an additional layer with the competitive solutions and their benchmark. So great for forecasting, but also allows us to get a deeper look at what the market for that individual segment, maybe it's ERP, and maybe you've got one supplier that you've identified, but you'd like to understand where the others come in at. It's a great tool. And we have a lot of people that are really tapping into that competitive, comprehensive aspect of the benchmarking process.
That's true. And when we start benchmarking, I really do a market analysis too. Even if I'm doing just a pricing, I want to know what the market's like. I want to know how that supplier is doing. Is it their end of quarter? Is it their end of year? Are they losing money? Are they doing well? What's the competitive landscape? And so I look at that as well as our data points and comparing their SKUs to what we show in our database and to determine that market value. So we just, I have the mindset of looking at it comprehensively no matter what kind of benchmark we do.
So just really quick before we go any further into the conversation, I do think it's important to kind of expand upon what we view as indirect technology, right? Because a lot of times people can kind of think it's just software or hardware. Certainly those are right in the wheelhouse of what PAAS does, but it goes beyond that, right? So we look at things like consultants and people costs, and obviously, as Dave talked about with SIs and implementation, but we also look at credit card merch and telecom and mobility. Those are two big areas, especially recently, where there's a ton of low-hanging fruit. We have a ton of relevant data points, and we're making huge impacts for our clients. Dave, I don't know if you've got any stories that can kind of, touch on that, but those are areas that I really want to make sure that we drove home, because I think it's, again, another area of differentiation. When I talk with clients, they don't really get a whole lot of assistance from Gartner in those areas.
Yeah, credit card merch is often overlooked as an indirect technology spend, but there's huge opportunity there. We have a ton of data in that area, and we recently did a competitive analysis on credit card merch fees for a quick serve restaurant based out west, and it would save them $500,000 a year. It's amazing results, and you can't overlook mobility either. And I'm thinking all of telco, because telco is broadband, it's POTS lines, it's mobility, and there's just a ton of opportunity there. So don't ignore those two categories.
Dave, how long is an agreement like that? Because that's $500,000 a year, but we're talking, what, 5, 6, 7 years in some cases?
That one was a 3-year agreement. 3-year agreement for the credit card merge, yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of that was in year one, but average over the course of the 3 years was $500,000. It's a big impact.
We want to thank you for joining us today. I hope that this behind the scenes look has given you a lot of insight into what it's like to work with PAAS and the exponential difference we can make for you. Justin, Dave, anything you'd like to let people know before we go?
No, I think from my perspective, I'm just really eager and excited to have more and more of these conversations. I know the impact that we can have. Doesn't matter if you currently work with Gartner, have in the past. Our process is different. You'll see that. And if you're interested in getting quick wins and, very quick, powerful outcomes, then give us a call. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you.
And the differences couldn't be more stark. It's the data, the expertise, the network, and our urgency to deliver quick outcomes to our clients that's most important. So come on over.
We hope to hear from you soon. Thanks for joining us.